We brought you the story of Rasheem Carter in Mississippi. He disappeared. He told the police and his mother he was afraid that there were a group of white men that were threatening him. And then they found his body in the woods, decapitated, body parts separated. Police said no foul play. That was weird. But then police also said it was possible for animal activity. And we checked with a death investigator who said 100% that was possible at that time, with that length of time in the woods. Rasheem's the family wants a federal investigation into this. They are very upset about it. They actually have said this was an evil act through their lawyer, Ben Crump. This was an evil act. Somebody murdered Rasheem Carter. The family just released a statement to the public saying that Rasheem told them that if anything should happen, then definitely his boss was responsible. And they haven't produced that text, they haven't produced that evidence, but what that did was it set a mob in motion. An online mob has gone after that boss. That boss's name is Luke Clements, and Luke's family was targeted by the internet mob. There were death threats against Luke, against his wife, against his kids, his little kids, and there were rape threats made against Luke's wife. The whole Clements family has had to go into hiding at this point, now fearful of their life. All the contracts that they've had to stop. All those workers were laid off. And there is evidence that has surfaced that shows Luke could not have done this crime. I want to bring in Luke Clements, who is in hiding. He was Rasheem's boss. He owns that company that hired Rasheem to work in Mississippi. And Luke also is doing this interview with his attorney, Mark O'Mara, who is joining us as well live tonight. Luke, let me start with what's happened to you and your family and why you decided to get everybody and immediately go into hiding.
You know, after the national press conference, you know, all throughout the process of the Rasheem case and all, you know, I've continuously, ever since he went missing, have received calls and always receiving things, you know, via the internet and social media. But once the national press conference hit the news, it just got relentless. You know, we started getting death threats. You know, it started being accusations made toward my wife and my kids. And then it was just relentless. I mean, they would call me every minute, every 2 minutes. They'd leave me messages until my voicemails filled up on my phone. Text messages were just horrific text messages, just stating some horrific things that they wanted to do to me and my wife and my children. They've contacted, you know, different family members. Anybody who was associated with me has been contacted. And, you know, it just got to the point where I felt like it was the safest thing to do to just take my family out of the picture.
Let me read some of the text messages that you have received from this online mob. Okay, I'm going to start here. And there are some things I've had to obviously redact because they are so horrendous. Yes, you and your family will suffer, and your kids will suffer for the rest of their life. The next text is, the guy who killed Rasheem Carter is Stephen Luke Clements. Stop waiting on the police to give y'all justice. His wife's name is blank. And, of course, they used the name. This next one is, you are being followed everywhere you go. What goes around comes around. This next one is about your wife, and it's a rape threat. I've had to redact it heavily. It says, that pretty little blank of yours will have blank, which is sexually explicit language, when your eyes roll to the back of your head. Don't get caught on here. The next text is about your children. It says, your children will be left on this planet with our race. You better pray to your white God that we have mercy on them. Luke, what have the police done about these threats to you and your family?
We've made contact with all the local law enforcement, the sheriffs and all in our county, and they're aware of everything that's going on. They've been very supportive. You know, I've definitely had a lot of support from the local law enforcement. And they've made continuous checks, you know, on our business and our properties and all of the areas that are locally. And they've also been very supportive as as to talking to me and just checking on me and just making sure that everything was okay. It's just been it's really, I mean, it's unfortunate, and I want to find out what happened to Rasheem, and I want to help any way we can, and we have, we've made every effort to address any of these accusations that have been made, and it's just unfortunate that that it's just been a rough time. To be honest.
And listen, Rasheem's parents, his family's been on this program as well, wanting to seek answers, and at that time did not point the finger at you. But I do want to mention, Mark O'Mara, there's a collection of evidence that you've put together in terms of looking at everywhere that your client was, where Luke was while Rasheem was seen on a deer cam, and text messaging between Luke and his employee, Rasheem, and a lie detector test as well that I know you've said, Luke has taken and passed. My question is, why do you think that Rasheem's family wrote this? They said that there was a text that well, she hasn't shown it, but she says that she has a text from her son saying, "Me and the owner of this company are not seeing eye to eye, Mama. If anything happens to me, he's responsible for it." What do you make of this coming from Rasheem Carter's family?
Sure. Well, first, we haven't seen it. I want to. I've asked for it. I'm hoping it's going to come. I believe and hope that law enforcement does have it. And if it says those words, then I'm sure there is some other explanation that we don't know of yet. But we also have a text string between Rasheem and Luke the very night that supposedly he had said this to his mom. And the text string, which I'd given to you, Ashley, and is available, is very friendly. It talks about the work the next day. He didn't end up showing up, but work into the future. But what I did when Luke first came to me, I looked at him quite honestly with a jaundiced eye. I said, okay, if I'm going to help you, we need to prove innocence, a difficult thing to do. So I asked him literally on the phone, get me your phone records. He did. Get me employment records. He did. Get me records showing where you were that next day, October 2nd. He was at work 6:22 in the morning, didn't leave until 8:44 at night in a secure facility. He wasn't there when whatever happened to Rasheem happened to him. And then we ran him through a polygraph. Did you know anything about Rasheem's passing? No. Did you harm him in any way? No. Did you have anything to do with it or any knowledge of it? No. The problem with it is that even if Miss Tiffany, Rasheem's mom, didn't intend this horrible tidal wave of violence, it's there because in the internet, one little thing is taken as the truth and it can blow up and hurt people. And that's the concern we have right now.
Understandably, there's no excuse for people jumping to conclusions and becoming law enforcement themselves, and then going after a person's wife, a person's children. Let's stay on this. Mark O'Mara, please keep us posted on what's happening. Luke Clements, I wish you safety with your family, and I do want you to keep us posted on the developments in this case. Thank you both.